welcome. My name's Sam and this is The Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to our first card for this week's stamp set of the week, Help Me Grow. It is a bundle. There are dies and there are stamps. So first of all, the stamps, there are 10 images and 5 sentiments. So you've got a flower pot, you've got 3 types of handle for the implements. So you've got a spade, a fork and a pair of secateurs. You've got a little marker for putting in your flower pot, and you've got a little flower, and then we've got You Help Me Grow, Love You Bunches, Hello, Thanks and Good Luck. So that's what you get in the stamps, and in the dies you get 22 in total. It'll cut out the big flower pot, which is this one, or it will give you a small flower pot. Again, you've got the die for the fork and the spade and the secateurs, but you've also got a smaller version of the fork, spade and secateurs. Alongside you have some earth markings. You've got a thin border here that cuts out the earth, and you can make that as long or as shallow as you wish. You've got 2 sets of leaves, or 3 sets of leaves actually, here, here and here. You've got flowers there and there, and this little one here, and this is like a little die, cuts out the like a little the string that would go around the handles, because there is a hole in the handle. Right, I think that, oh, and you've also got a plate for the bowls to sit on, or the pots to sit on. Okay, so that is our stamp set of the week. Let's bring in our card. Here we go. This is the card. So the first thing you might notice is how large these images are. So they're not tiny. They are quite big, which is makes a change, because sometimes the things can be quite small. So there's lots of versatility with these large images. Now around the edge here, I have used the handle of one of the flowers. So let me show you. So it's this one here, the handle. I've just used it around the edges before I did the focal point. So let's bring in our supplies. So I'm going for tone on tone really today. I've got early espresso, which measures 8 inches by 5 3/4 and will score at the 4-inch mark. I have got crumb cake. This measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. And then I have got a much smaller piece of white card. Now I'm just going to double check, because this is 3 1/4. Yes, so this is 3 1/4 by 5 inches. And the reason for that is so that it shows a bit more of the border around the edges. And then obviously you can put a white piece inside should you wish. So as usual, we're going to start with the stamping. So the first stamping I'm going to do is onto this piece of crumb cake. Now I'm going to use the wooden handle, which is this one here, and I'm going to stamp all the way around in the early espresso. I just need a post-it note. Let me just grab that for a second, and you'll see why in 2 moments. Why I need the post-it note. Okay, I'll put that there. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp round the edges, as close to the edge as possible in the early espresso. So let's do that. So we're going to go, there we go. So that's going to go all the way around. 1. As you can see, I'm quite close up to the edge. But with this wooden version, you can actually see that you can actually see it's a handle, whereas the flowers, because of the way they are designed, you wouldn't know that they were a handle. There isn't this rounded edge part. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going all the way around the edge. There we go. And I mean, first of all, I wasn't sure I was going to like it with the handle, but I think because it is a gardening theme, showing the handle is absolutely fine. Okay, so this is where the post-it note comes into play. I'm just going to line that down there so that it covers up the bit I've already done. And then I'm just going to stamp over the last final part like so, and then I can pull that off. And there you go. Right, so that is that part done first of all. So the next thing to do is to bring in the white, and what I need you to do is to stamp right in the middle your sentiment. So I'm using the happy birthday from the Simply Said. Now that is still available at the time of making the video, but how long it will be, I don't know. Okay, so there's my happy birthday in the middle, and now I can work my way round. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the flower pot, and this is going to be in crushed curry. Okay. And again, it's just going to be 3 items, 3 times around. Okay, so we're just going to go on there. We can do a bit there. And maybe I will do, let's do a bit this way, down the bottom. Okay, so you've got your 3 pots into place, and that was in the crushed curry. I'm now going to bring in my pecan pie. And I'm going to do 2 of these, because I'm going to use the, so I've got 2 spades, and I'm going to do 1 fork. So spade there. And let's have a look. Where else can we go? Put my finger there. That wasn't very clever. And spade there. There we go. Then I'm going to bring in the Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to use the fork for that. Turn that one upside down, and the fork will go into here. There we go. Now I was going to do yellow flowers, but I've changed my mind at looking at them. So I'm going to bring in the early espressos, and we're going to have the dark flowers, and this will make it pop. And also it might cover up my hiccup that I've got here. Let's have a look. So we've got one there. Look at that. That's 1. Let's do 1 here. 2. Going to bring the other one up here. Turn it round. Sometimes it's easier to turn it round to see how you're going to put it. That's 3. Do I need a 4th one? Let's just quickly, before I do, pop that onto there. Nope, I think that's fine. I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave it like that. So let's assemble it. So I've got my multi-purpose glue, and I'm just going to layer that on the top of here. So the layer on the top. There we go. And then that will go on to our early espresso. Let's fold that. So that's in half or at the 4-inch mark, whichever you prefer. And then that is going to go onto there. Now the only other thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to make sure that's straight, is to bring in some of the bling to put in on the flowers. And I'm going to use these gold accents. They're like little flower heads, and these are flower accents, so they are still available at present. And I'm just going to use the little ones to pop in the center of each of the flowers that we've got. 2, and there's the last one. There we go. And that is our quick and easy card for a Monday. So thank you ever so much for joining me today. I hope you like that card. Do join me again on Wednesday when we're back to a slightly different version. And we will be bringing the dies into play. So whatever you do for the rest of the day, happy crafting. Bye.